Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of return trust in this country. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Honorable members, I want to refer us to Standing Order number 32, Part 2 of it. And I read, if there is no quorum present when the chair is taken at the time appointed for a meeting of the county assembly immediately after the saying of the prayer, the speaker shall order the bell to be rung for 5 minutes. And if no quorum is present for the expiry of the 5 minutes, speaker may direct that the quorum bell be rung for a further 5 minutes. And if there is not still quorum present, the speaker shall adjourn the county assembly forthwith to the next sitting. I therefore want to direct that a quorum bell be rung for a period of 5 minutes. Honorable members, in view of our standing orders, standing on order number 32, the term quorum refers to the minimum number of members who must be present for the House to legally conduct its business. And our quorum, therefore, stands at 16. I want to ask the whip to confirm whether the House has attained the right quorum for the House to proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have quorum.
Thank you. The clerk, can you take us through the order of the day?
Third Assembly, third session, order paper number 6 of today, Tuesday, 27th February 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable Kennedy Oko, Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to orders number 42, 2C, which mandates me in my capacity as the County Assembly Leader of Majority to present and lay on the table a statement informing the County Assembly of the business coming before the House on the following week. Honorable Speaker, this is therefore to bring to the attention of members and the County Assembly that for the week commencing Wednesday, 28th February to Tuesday, 5th March 2024, the Select Committee on Assembly House Business at its last meeting approved the following tentative businesses to appear in the order papers as follows. On Wednesday, 8th February 2024 at 9 a.m., papers to be laid. 1. The County Assembly Leader Majority intends to lay the following papers. Report of the Auditor General on Ahero County Level 4 Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. 2. Report of the Auditor General on Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Level 5 Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. Then substantive business for the day. The chairperson PICPAC Committee on Kennedy Ouko will move a motion for the adoption of a report of PICPAC Committee on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kisumu County COVID-19 Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022. On Wednesday, 28th February at 2:30 p.m., papers to be laid. 1. The chairperson PICPAC, Honorable Kennedy Ouko, intends to table the following report. A report of PICPAC Committee on the examination of the report, the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022. Notice of motion to be given tomorrow. The chairperson PICPAC, Honorable Kennedy Ouko, intends to give the following notice of motion. 1. That pursuant to orders number 182.6 of the standing orders, this House adopts a report of PICPAC Committee on the examination of the report, the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kisumu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022. Then substantive business for the day. The chairperson Sectoral Committee on Agriculture, Fishery, Livestock Development and Irrigation, Honorable Eunice Alando, intends to move a motion on adoption of a report of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock Development and Irrigation Committee on its consideration of the Kisumu County Agricultural Facilities Improvement Financing Bill 2023 That is Kisumu County Bills number 9 of 2023. Then on Thursday, 29th February 2024 at 2:30 p.m., the substantive business for the day, the Chairperson Central Committee on Labor and Social Services, Honorable Zachary Okoyo, intends to move a motion on adoption of a report of Labor and Social Welfare Services Committee on the matter of degrading activities against women traders in exchange for fish along beaches in Kisumu. On Tuesday, that is on 5th March 2024, at 2:30 p.m., papers to be laid. The Chairperson Liaison Committee on Remuneration intends to table the following report. Report of the Liaison Committee on consideration of the half-year progress reports of committees for the period ended 31st December 2023. Then notices of motion. The Chairperson Liaison Committee on Remuneration intends to give the following notice of motion. That pursuant to orders number 182.6 of the standing orders, this House adopts a report of the Liaison Committee on consideration of the half-yearly progress reports of committees for the period ended 31st December 2023. Then on the same day, substantive business for the day, the Chairperson Central Committee on Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries, and Irrigation Honorable Eunice Orlando intends to move second reading of the Kisumu County Agricultural Sector Coordination Bill 2023, that is Kisumu County Bills number 7 of 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. The statement that has been owed by the honorable majority is provided for under our standing orders number 41C. And the honorable member, the statement that has been presented by the honorable majority is a statement on the calendar that needs adoption by the House. So I just want to give a few minutes for reaction on the same, but voting on this statement may not be possible. So I just want to give us a few minutes to react on the calendar that has been read by the honorable majority. And I propose that the majority statement, under which standing order, honorable member? Which facts do you want to state?
Madam Speaker, thank you. Majority Leader laid a program for the session, but would it be in order for someone to second before we deliberate on it?
Honorable Ochele, that's why I've said that the statements that are usually raised on the floor of the House are usually statements sought from chairs of sectoral committees. But this particular statement has been raised under standing order number 41C. And being a calendar of the House that needs adoption by the House, I'm opening the floor for debate. Briefly, I think you and me are on the same page, unless you want to give further clarification, but I've opened the floor for a few minutes debate on the same. A calendar for the next week, beginning tomorrow, has been raised as a statement by honorable majority. And Honorable members, standing orders number 1 gives the Speaker a leeway to decide on issues that are not provided for under this standing order. And if we don't have anyone who wants to deliberate on the same or give a submission on the same, then I want to rule that the statement, the calendar, has been adopted without amendments and without a question being put. Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8. Motion on the adoption of the report of Implementation Committee on the implementation status of House resolutions during the first and second sessions of the Third Assembly by the Honorable Henrietta Bodo.
Honorable Henrietta. Honorable Henrietta is today very short and Honorable Were, I suppose you're standing in for Honorable Henrietta?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Go ahead.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Chair, implementation on Henrietta Bodo, I rise to move a motion on the report of the Select Committee on Implementation on the status of House resolution passed during the first and second session of the Third Assembly. Madam Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders number 184 of Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders, which provides for within 60 days of a resolution of the County Assembly or adoption of a report of a Select Committee, the relevant member of the County Executive under whose portfolio the implementation of resolution falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly in accordance with Article 153 for subsection B of the Constitution. Madam Speaker and all members, based on the provision, the Committee on Implementation during its meeting on 13th July 2023, while considering its annual work plan for the financial year 2023-2024, resolve as its topmost priority to review and consider implementation status of House resolutions passed during first and second session of the Third Assembly and report back to this House. The committee therefore developed a monitoring and tracking matrix to systematically monitor progress on the implementation status of all the House resolutions, including legislations, adopted committee reports and motions, petitions, statements passed by the House during the aforementioned period. This is to ensure accountability in resolutions and actions mandated by the House. Madam Speaker and all members, the committee in conducting its inquiry on implementation status of the House resolutions used 2 methods. 1, wrote letters to relevant CEC members requesting them to furnish the committee with a detailed report on the implementation status of the House resolution. 2, invited the CEC members together with their technical teams to respond to the issues domiciled under their docket. Madam Speaker, this report therefore represents the committee findings after conducting its inquiries with the relevant department concerned. House resolution under the Department of Public Service and Participatory Development Office of the Governor, Madam Speaker and all members, the Committee on Implementation, following through the analysis and scrutiny, has identified 2 pending reports domiciled under the Department of Public Service and Participatory Development. These reports are as follows. 1, report by Administration of Law, Justice, Constitutional Affairs, and Good Governance on the status of operation of village units in the county. 2, the statement raised by James Were regarding the situation of rivers and drainages within the county, i.e. the perennial areas such as Kisumu East and Nyando Sub-County. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee in its role of the following up on the implementation status of the reports under the Department of Public Service and Participatory Development first convened a meeting on Thursday, 27th July 2023. and resolved that the CEC member for Public Service and Participatory Development to appear before it on Thursday, 3rd August 2023. See Annex 1. However, the CEC member did not turn up, but responded on the House resolution by submitting a report as follows. That is put in Annex 2. 1. That a holistic operation of the village units is based on the Principal Act of the Assembly, the Kisumu County Administration Village Units Act 2019. That this act, as proposed, amendments pending processing and approval by the County Assembly. 2, that the implementation framework, that is county regulation on the operation of the village unit, is not ready. 3, that the departmental budgets to operationalize village councils is factored in financial year 2023-2024 approved estimates. 4, that the department is open to progressive dialogue with the County Assembly on recall and on revaluation of the list of village councils to accommodate progressive concerns. 5, that the recall of village administrators may be affected on consideration that resubmission for approval by the County Assembly as recommended in the committee report shall be in accordance with the County Government Act 2012 and the amended County Administration Village Units Act 2019. 6, that the department further recommended a participatory dialogue approach between the department, the County Assembly Committee, and the County Public Service Board on the progressive operationalization of village units. 7, Madam Speaker, on the matter of desiltation of rivers and opening of drainages around perennial disaster areas within the county, the department responded by stating that it is working with the Department of Finance and Assembly to consider areas under disaster mitigation budget rather than emergency or anticipatory estimates. That this will allow for a quantity estimation beforehand and action before disaster subject to budget allocation. Madam Speaker, committee recommendation. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee noted that there is need for amendments to Kisumu County Administration Village Units Act 2019. That act has proposed amendment pending processing and approval by the County Assembly. Madam Speaker, House resolution under the Department of Finance and Economic Planning. The Committee on Implementation and subsequently held another meeting on 25th September 2023 and resolved to have a joint meeting with the CEC member Finance and Economic Planning on Monday, 2nd October 2023 to respond on the implementation status of the following House resolution domicile under the Department of Finance and Economic Planning, see Annex 3. 1, implementation status of report by PICPAC Committee on its consideration of Auditor General's report on financial statement of County Executive of Kisumu for the year ended 30th June 2020. 2, implementation status of House resolution on consideration of the Kisumu CBROP for financial year 2021-2022. 3, implementation status of the House resolution on approved county executive quarterly report for the period ended 30th September 2022. 4, implementation status of assembly resolutions on payment of retirement benefits to retirees of the defunct Kisumu Municipal Council. 5, implementation status of payment of project management committee and the operations pursuant to statement raised by Honorable Lumumba Owade on 28th March 2023. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Committee on Implementation convened a joint meeting with the CEC member Finance and Economic Planning on 2nd October 2023. However, the CEC member for Finance and Economic Planning never showed up, but sent his chief officer and his technical team to represent him and respond on the above concern. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Chief Officer Finance Economic Planning together with the technical staff responded on the concern raised on them as follows. 1, in regard to the implementation status of the report by PICPAC Committee on its consideration of the Auditor General report on the financial statement of the County Executive of Kisumu for the year ended 30th June 2020, the Chief Officer informed the committee, A, that the Treasury has reviewed most of its operations to enhance operation effectiveness and efficiency and internal control system. Notable ones are streamlining the payment process, decentralization of most payment processing activities back to the department, and revision of payment voucher ownership and accountability, among others. B, that all procurement and accounting processes are undertaken through the IFMI system to enhance efficiency in the operation and use of system. C, that unspent money is returned to the CRF account. And D, that for the safe custody of payment transaction documents, the county treasury has created a registry where all files under audit review or pending auditing are stored for safety. That this also aim to reduce the risk of missing documents. E, that there is full adherence to the financial statement through proper clarification of expenditures and timely reconciliations. F, that the county treasury has started managing pending bills, that is development and recurrent, based on the best financial management and accounting principles and practices. That this will entail distinguishing completed and certified works from the works in progress, terminating stalled and long overdue contracts, settling certified bills on first in, first out, that is FIFO, subject to the cash flow plan and availability of funds. G, that the county treasury has further enhanced transparency, accountability, predictability, and efficiency in payment process by working on a cash flow plan, payment plan, and tracking of pending bills. H, that to improve revenue management, the county established and fully operationalized County Revenue Board. Over and above, the acquisition of revenue management system in progress as soon after meeting all the procurement process, it will be officially launched. I, that executive has developed a draft ICT security policy currently under review and adoption by stakeholders, that the draft policy will be tabled before the Assembly for adoption. J, that His Excellency the Governor appeared before the Senate PAC Committee on 12 September 2023 to consider the OAG report on the financial statement of the County Executive of Kisumu for the period ended 30th June 2020, that the Executive managed to solve nearly all the issues raised and are yet to receive an official report from the Senate on the same. Number 2, Madam Speaker, on the implementation status of House resolutions on consideration of Kisumu CBROG for financial year 2021-2022, the Chief Officer informed the committee as follows. That the County Treasury did not submit a duly signed copy of the County Budget Review and Outlook Paper 2022. Number 3, on the implementation status of this Assembly resolution on payment of retirement benefits to retirees of the defunct Kisumu Municipal Council. The Chief Officer of Finance responded by stating that the payment of retirement benefits to retirees of the defunct Kisumu Municipal Council has been included in the approved budget estimates for 2023-2024 under the current Public Service Administration and Governance, that the payment shall be made in months of October 2023. Number 4, regarding implementation status of payment for Project Management Committee and the operations pursuant to statement raised by Honorable Lumumba Wade on 28th March 2023, the Chief Officer of Finance and Economic Planning provided a clarification to this committee that Article 207 stroke 1 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 established a revenue fund for each county government, into which all money raised or received on behalf of the county government are paid. Article 209, Section 3, specifies taxes and levies that can be charged by a county government and thus transferred or paid to CRF account. Furthermore, Part 2 of the 4th Schedule of the Constitution provides for the functions and powers of the county government upon which it can raise revenue transferable to CRF account. That none of this provision of the law recognize PMC fund as the revenue or specifically express that it be transferred to CRF account. In addition, PMC fund is an already accounted for fund during the requisition for payment to contractors. That transferring the same would amount to double counting of a non-revenue activity, thus overestimating revenue. That the most effective and prudent practice in managing the PMC fund is current implementation method. This involves channeling the fund to the amount held at KCB Bank, which is overseen by the Chief Officer of Infrastructure, Public Works and Energy. That all departmental requisitions are directed to the Chief Officer for Infrastructure, who then facilitates the payment, processing, and transfer to the funds to PMC members, either through M-Pesa services or KCB accounts. Madam Speaker, committee recommendations. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Committee on Implementation, after lengthy deliberation on the issues under the Department of Finance and Economic Planning with the Chief Officer of Finance, resolved that responses provided by the Chief Officers were deemed unsatisfactory, and recommended that the Chief Officer revisit the issues raised and provide a clear response to the committee not later than 11th October 2023. Madam Speaker, House resolution under the Department of Water, Environment and Natural Resources. The Committee on Implementation identified the following reports under the Department of Water, Environment and Natural Resources. 1. Report by Water and Environment and Natural Resources Committee on consideration of the statement sought by Honorable Benson Adega regarding water crisis in Bukna area, Katega, Kobuya, and Auramea in Kajulu Ward. 2. Report by Water, Environment and Natural Resources Committee on consideration of the statement sought by Honorable Kennedy Oko regarding sand harvesting in River Nyando in Aero Ward. And 3, the regulation to operationalize the Kisumu County Climate Change Act 2020. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee, upon identification of the above reports under the Department of Water, Environment and Natural Resources, resolved that the CC member in charge of water, environment and natural resources to furnish it with a detailed response of their implementation status. You can see Annex 5. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the CEC member for Water, Environment and Natural Resources in our response through a report, Annex 6, informed the committee as follows. Number 1, in regard to the water crisis in Bukna area, that is Katega, Kobuya, and Auramea in Kajulu Ward, the Kisumu County Water Bill 2023 has been submitted to the Assembly for enactment, and that the department has also developed Kisumu County Training Manual for small-scale water service providers, which is yet to be presented to the Cabinet for approval. The CC member further informed the committee that the Bukuna borehole is dry and has no water. Therefore, the department could not budget for this repair or reconstruct the pump. However, the department plans to supply water to the area by Lake Victoria Water and Sanitation Project, which is at its procurement stage by the Lake Victoria Works Development Agency. Number 2, with regards to the sand harvesting in River Nyando in Aero Ward, the CEC member responded by informing the committee that His Excellency the Governor on 28th March 2023 appointed Kisumu Environment Committee and gazetted the area in Kenya Gazette Notice number 7516 as per the revised Environment and Coordination Act 2015 and Section 29, subsection 1, which stipulates that the governor shall by notice in a gazette constitute a county environment committee of the county, and Section 29, Part 2, further defines that the composition of such committees, that the committee, the County Environment Committee, in its process of developing the county environment strategy and environmental management plan, which will be used in conservation, enforcement, control, and ensure that appropriate environmental management practices are followed within the county. Committee recommendation. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Committee on Implementation, after the analysis of the responses by the CCM Water, Environment and Natural Resources, resolved that the responses given was satisfactory and successfully addressed the resolution of the County Assembly. Madam Speaker, House resolutions under the Department of Infrastructure, Energy and Public Works. The Committee on Implementation identified one report under the Department of Infrastructure, Energy and Public Works, which is the report by Infrastructure, Energy and Public Works Committee on its consideration of the statement raised by Honorable Boyton Ratib regarding the status of street lights and floodlights within Kisumu County. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Committee on Implementation held a meeting on Thursday, 7th September 2023, and resolved that the CC member to furnish the committee with a detailed response of the implementation status of the report by Infrastructure, Energy and Public Works Committee on its consideration of the statement raised by, no, that's a repetition. See, on 25th September 2023, you can refer to Annex 7. The committee further wrote a reminder notice that is annexed on Annex 8. The committee is yet to receive any response on the matter and is following up to ensure that all resolutions on the said report are implemented. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee recommendation. The committee observed that despite the sending a reminder notice, the CCM Infrastructure, Energy and Public Works has failed to address the concerns raised by the County Assembly. Consequently, the committee plans to summon CCM to appear in person and respond to a mentioned concern. Madam Speaker, the committee has identified the following House legislation within the jurisdiction of the County Attorney Department that have yet to be regulated. 1, Kisumu County Public Participation Act 2016. 2, Kisumu County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2014. 3, Kisumu County Education Act 2015. 4, Kisumu County Trade Licensing Act 2015. 5, Kisumu County Trade Fund Act 2015. 6, Kisumu County Disaster and Emergencies Management Act 2014. 7, the Kisumu County Health Act 2019. 8, Kisumu County Road Act 2019. 9, Kisumu County Law Enforcement Act 2019. And 10, Kisumu County Climate Change Act 2020. Madam Speaker and honorable members, during the consideration of the aforementioned act, the committee liaised with the Committee on Delegated County Legislation. It was resolved that the county attorney would provide the Committee on Implementation with the regulations pertaining to the selected acts. It is imperative to note that the committee has not yet received the regulation as communicated by the Office of the County Attorney in their letter dated 12th June 2023. You can see the Annex 9. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the committee observed that it has yet to receive regulation as communicated by the Office of the County Attorney. The Committee on Implementation shall collaborate with the Committee on Delegated County Legislation to determine the most effective approach to resolving this issue promptly. Subsequently, upon adoption of this report, the two committees will present their submission aiming to achieve a lasting solution. Madam Speaker and honorable members, committee findings and observations. 1, the committee members during interrogation with the county executive committee members and their technical team noted that the officers failed to adhere to the provision of Article 153, subsection 4(b) of the Constitution of Kenya and Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders number 184, which states that within 60 days of a resolution of County Assembly or adoption of a report of a select committee, the relevant CEC member under whose portfolio the implementation of this resolution falls shall provide a report to the relevant committee of the County Assembly. 2, the committee has noted with concern that reports are typically not copied to implementation committee, hindering the smooth tracking of House activities undertaken by this August House. 3, the committee noted that some of the county executive committee members either failed to appear or disregard invitation by sending their technical staff to represent them without providing any justifiable reason. Some of the CEC members do not respond to letters addressed to their offices regarding concerns raised by the committee members. Madam Speaker, it is upon this honorable House to recommend the necessary measures to be taken against such offices. 4, regulations are key to the implementation and operation of the acts. However, upon examining the resolution within the county attorney's department, it has come to light that more than 10 legislation have been enacted without any regulation submitted to the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for onward transmission to the House for adoption. Madam Speaker, this demonstrates a significant laxity on the part of a responsible officer. The committee, in collaboration with the Committee on Delegated Legislation, will promptly engage in consultation to address this matter with utmost urgency. Committee General Recommendation. Madam Speaker and honorable members, following the scrutiny of the House resolution for the period under review, the committee presents the following recommendation. 1, the mandate of the County Assembly is representation, legislation, and oversight. It is crucial for all committees of the Assembly to enhance their collaboration with the committee through consultation and reporting on the implementation status of the projects and programs. Through teamwork, committees should strengthen their collaboration on monitoring and evaluating the actions of the executive to ensure that the county government programs are implemented as intended. 2, considering the significant task of a committee in scrutinizing all House resolutions and providing timely updates to the Assembly on implementation progress, this House should consider adjusting the committee budget, including site visits with experts to gain first-hand insights and ensure thorough scrutiny and make informed reports to this House. 3, copies of communication to the executive on House resolutions be given to chief officers. This is because the chief officers are the implementing officers, and it would be much more convenient to follow up with them for prompt action and feedback. 4, the committee plans to convene a consultative meeting with all CEC and chief officers, not only brief and sensitize them on the committee's mandate, but also to establish a collaborative framework, including timeliness and as stipulated in the standing orders. This initiative aims to foster a strong working relationship, recognizing the distinct and independent roles as provided for in the Constitution. 5, the liaison committee should ensure the timely submission of quarterly reports as stipulated in the standing orders. This will enable the Committee on Implementation to operate and manage its work more efficiently. 6, the respective committee clerks should ensure that both hard and soft copies of committee reports adopted in this House, as well as correspondences to the executive, are promptly forwarded to the Committee on Implementation immediately after adoption, ensuring timely updates for efficient and prompt action. 7, the table clerk should promptly submit resolution of the House to Implementation Committee. This will enable the committee to fast track and act promptly. 8, the staff turnover in the committee remains a challenge. Efforts should be directed towards revamping the committee with a strong secretariat to enable it to successfully achieve its mandate with the designated timelines. Madam Speaker, conclusion. It is my honor and privilege on behalf of the Select Committee on Implementation to move this motion before this Honorable House for consideration and adoption. I would therefore call upon Honorable Rati Boyton to second. Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members.
Honorable Rati Boyton, are you a member of the Implementation Committee? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the work of the Committee of Implementation. Thank you.
Honorable members, a motion on the adoption of the report of Implementation Committee on the implementation status of House resolutions during the first and second sessions of the Third Assembly has been moved by Honorable Were for the chair, Honorable Henrietta, seconded by Honorable Boyton Ratib. I therefore want to propose a question of debate that the motion be therefore open for debate. Yes, Honorable Ochele.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I first take this opportunity to commend the committee for the nice report, and may I also take this opportunity to commend Member for Nyalenda B for being eloquent in representing his chair. The report, Madam Speaker, is very vast. It captures most of the things covered in the last part of last session. But, Madam Speaker, my worry is on some few areas. Because this is a report by implementation committee. And when this House approves the report, then we need the report to be relayed to relevant officers as recommended by the committee. My number one problem, Madam Speaker, is time frame. There are a number of recommendations which expired in October 2023, about 4. If we approve it now, Madam Speaker, how will we get a forum to backdate it so that it suits our current need? Because any reasonable person receiving the report today can easily throw it in the dustbin because it is overtaken by events. So our ways that the committee could have sat down before bringing the report and revisits, revises, and brings a report which is up to date. Because the House will be like, we are confused, we don't know what we are doing. We are supporting a recommendation which has passed. In the last session, Madam Speaker, I think that is an oversight and it is a serious one, and the House cannot just move on to allow it to go through. 2, Madam Speaker, there is a recommendation that the correspondences to the departments be through the chief officers, or the chief officers be given letters. Madam Speaker, there are structures of government and how government functionalities are computed. Letters from the Assembly, Madam Speaker, are relayed through one center, that is the office of the clerk, and it is sent to the office of the county secretary. The figurehead of all departments, Madam Speaker, remains the CCM. It can't change to the chief officer. So once a CCM member has obtained a correspondence through the clerk, that means the department has received it. So that recommendation, Madam Speaker, is like we are trying to amend procedures which have been in existence and which we don't have mandate to do. Madam Speaker, finally, there is a recommendation that the departments, the committees, present their reports in time. How is that recommendation is in line with the very implementation committee? Because I'm privileged to be sitting in liaison committee. The committee that brings its reports latest is this recommendation committee. So they should start by actually rectifying the way they undertake their mandates before they do that recommendation, because most of the committees present their reports early. Now, if we present ours early and the implementer presents theirs the last time, and sometimes they present after coercion. So they have to improve in that line. Therefore, Madam Speaker, it will have been in my wisdom that this report is not passed. Or if the Speaker can so allow, then you can allow us to do amendments on the areas which you think are outdated. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, Honorable Ochele has raised very pertinent issues, and I want to agree with him. And he is proposing that the various amendments be made on the report before it can be adopted. But we understand that there are also procedures, and any amendments must be written prior to the discussion of the motion. Unless this House want to grant that we grant Honorable Ochele that leeway, but then it has to be moved in a proper manner. So Honorable Ochele, do you want to place move an amendment, or you're rejecting the report in totality?
Madam Speaker, I want to go with your first sentiment that there are procedures of proposing amendments. And Madam Speaker, the procedure can only be followed when the report in itself is submitted to this House or to members in the right time, at the right time. This very report, which has just been read and seconded, Madam Speaker, I saw it at 7:01 p.m. this afternoon. I don't know whether I could be a genius to craft an amendment procedurally. Therefore, Madam Speaker, for us to be serious and produce one of the best reports, it is my request that we give them time just to work on it. Or, Madam Speaker, if it can be introduced, then, Madam Speaker, it should be introduced and given to members at the right time so that members can react and prepare for the amendments. Thank you.
Honorable members, I want to draw your attention to the procedures of the House that legislative processes in Kenya have set a precedent that a question once made or carried in affirmative or in the negative cannot be questioned again, but must stand as a judgment of the House. So, standing order number 1, giving me leeway to decide on some matters, I want to give room to Honorable Ochele, because in the history of Kenyan legislature, there has never been a decision so far which has been sought and granted on any resolutions relating to a report of a committee. So once this report has been put and carried on, it shall stand as a judgment of the House. So before we put a question on this motion, I want to give leeway to Honorable Ochele to make his amendments and move it procedurally. Honorable Ochele. Thank you, honorable members. I want to give Honorable Ochele the right to reserve a few minutes of his time to draft his submissions and amendments on the on the report. So I just want to ask that we continue as we give Honorable Ochele time, and we will grant him time to come back later to move his amendments. So, honorable members, we continue. Any other person with other submissions on the report? Yes, Honorable Dede.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according the opportunity to also air my sentiment concerning the report on the floor. First of all, Madam Speaker, according to some of the recommendations made within the report, it seems it's past the timeline of the recommendation. To begin with, there was a statement sought by Water Committee in the previous financial year, and the recommendation stated clearly that upon the adoption of the report within 30 days, there shall be, it will be placed on a budget whereby the recommendation is going to be sought. And as we see, the budget where the implementation was to be done was to be in the budget of 2023-2024, and we're now eyeing at the budget of 2024-2025. It means it's past its normal time whereby it can't be, at least the adoption, if adopted now, I don't know how it will be backdated. Secondly, concerning the timeline of submission of the report to the floor, it seems that the time at which the report has been brought, according to the standing order, it states that it should be brought some hours before, about 12 or 24 hours before the debating time. And as we observe this, the report, it has just been circulated about at 13:01 hours, which I think it doesn't give us time to peruse it clearly in order to at least work on it. Otherwise, that's my takeaway. Thank you, Madam.
Honorable Dede, at the moment the report was read and a question proposed, this report became a document of the House. And I want to believe that your concern should have been raised before the question was proposed. So unless you want to join in the sentiments of Honorable Ochele, but otherwise, there's no way we can withdraw this report. It's officially a document of the House. I read your standing order number 56, I suppose. Yes, standing order number 56. Any other submissions, honorable members?
Madam Speaker, point of order.
What is your point of order, Honorable Boyton?
Madam Speaker, under standing order number 32, I believe there is no quorum in the House. Thank you.
Honorable members, a point of order on the quorum hitch has been raised by Honorable Boyton. I want to ask the majority whip, Honorable Jennifer, to count the members and confirm that we have 1/3 of the total number of members to be able to continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We have quorum, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Boyton, the majority whip is ruling you out of order. Can we have someone else confirming the sentiments of Honorable Boyton and the confirmation of the majority whip? Honorable Dede.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. According to Honorable Boyton's sentiment, and you've already stated us that the quorum should be 1/3 of the number of the House, which should be 1/3 of 47, should be around 16. And if you go by looking the quorum, Madam, there is no quorum, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, I therefore want to direct that a quorum bell be rung for 8 minutes. And honorable members, according to our standing orders, a quorum bell rung under this standing order states that the door shall remain open, but no movement out of the chamber shall be permitted unless it's the whip who is going out to try and whip members who may be out of the chamber but are within the presence of the assembly. Thank you. Honorable Were, approach the chair. Majority Whip, approach the chair. Honorable Ochele, approach the chair. Honorable Were, approach the chair. Honorable members, I want to refer us to standing order number 33-2, that if in account of paragraph 1, a quorum does not appear to be present, the speaker or the chairperson shall cause the division bell to be rung as on a division. And if no quorum is present at the expiry of the 8 minutes, the speaker shall adjourn the county assembly until the next sitting without a question being put. Honorable members, this house therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 28th of February 2024 at 9 a.m.